In this session of Advanced Excel, we will understand a very powerful function of Excel, that is macros. If you have a task in Microsoft Excel that you do repeatedly, then you can record macros to automate those tasks. Let's learn this function easiest way. Now suppose you want the user to enter this data, the name and the skill level in the three softwares, which is Primavera, MSP, Excel, and his experience, and then you want to tabulate the information, and then based on the inputs you want to select the candidate. So suppose under the name someone's write the name, then he writes his skill level, whether he is moderate skill or high skill, and then he write his experience. Now suppose this task is repeated every day, you want this data, and then you go to the table form and then you paste here. So what you do, you will go to the previous screen, you will copy the name Rahul, you will come to the table and you will paste it. Again you will go to the Primavera skill level, you will copy the input by the user and you will paste in the tabular form. Then you will copy the data entry by the user under MSP and you will paste it under the table. And similarly, manually you will copy and paste each and every data so that you can tabulate it, and the next user can enter the data in the data entry sheet. So suppose this is a task that you have to repeat day in, day out. Now, is it possible for you that every time a user enter his detail and then you enter each of the detail again in the table? It doesn't make a sense. Also, you want to check whether the candidate is selected or not based on the criteria. The criteria is he must have high skill in all the three software. You can apply the if command so that when the user will enter high in all the three criteria, then the output will be selected, otherwise the output will be rejected. Also, you want to change the format by centering the each data in the cell and keeping the color blue. Now these steps you have repeated manually. Now suppose another user after Rahul enters the data. First thing, he enters the name, let's say Raghav. Let's Primavera skill of Raghav be high. Let's MSP skill level of Raghav be high, and Excel skill level be high, and experience be 12 years. Now again you want the same thing. You again want to enter all the data in the table, but this time we will not do it manually. We will use a function which will do our task in the Excel, and this function is known as the MACROS function, a very powerful tool in the Excel. So go to the view, and in the option of macros there is an option to record macro. Click on the record macro. First you have to put a name to a macro. Now this will record everything on a screen. So let me put the name of the macro data entry. Now what this macro will do, whatever the user entering the data in this table will be entered into the tabular form. So now whatever we are doing on the Excel screen, it's getting recorded in the Excel. That means anything that we do, Excel is recording the steps. So our first step is to insert another row in the main table. Then we will copy the name, because this we have to repeat every day. Then we will paste the name here. Then we will copy the skill level of Primavera and we will paste it under the Primavera. Then we will copy the MSP skill level and then we will paste it under the MSP in a tabular form. Now we are repeating this step, though Excel is recording each of our steps. So whatever we are doing right now, it's getting recorded, and soon we will understand that how it will help us. So now it will paste
the experience. Now we have copied and pasted each entry. Now what we want to put a formula of if, so we will apply the if logic that there are three conditions. First is the data entry under Primavera must be equal to high. Then the data entry under MSP must be equal to high. Then the data entry under the Excel must be equal to high. And if this condition suits, then the output should be true, that is selected, and in the condition of false, the output should be rejected. So based on the data entry, we have used the if command to check whether the candidate has to be selected or to be rejected. The next thing we will do is to remove the border, to center each text in the cell, and also we need to provide the series number. Now this is little tricky part. Here you need to enter the next series number. So first of all you have to find what is the maximum current series number. As of now you can see 1 is the maximum number. So we will select all the bottom cells. So the maximum number is 1, which is now it is calculating. Now in the new series number we want the maximum plus 1. So we have used the maximum formula till 1000 entry, and now we are doing the plus 1. So whatever entry we will do, it will automatically copy the maximum one. Now we have to remove the formula and copy it and paste it as a value. So we will paste it as a value. Now we have to do the sorting by the series number. Now this is the output which we want. Now then we want all this data to be deleted so that the next entry can be done. So this is the step we have to repeat for each entry. Suppose there are 10,000 entry or maybe 1000 entry, then we have to do this step so many times. But now using the macros, first we will stop the macros, go to the views and stop the macros. Using the macros it will become very easier for us. Now whatever we have done in the past 5 minutes, everything has been recorded in the macro data entry in the Excel. That's mean each step which we have performed is been recorded by the Excel. So now what we have to do, we have to just enter the details. So the user will come, they will enter their details. Let's say name be Rajiv and each entry is there and experience be 6 years. Now again we want all the steps to be repeated. Now since we have recorded this step, now we do not need to repeat this step manually. All we need to do is to run a macros. Now let's understand how to run a macro. You can insert any symbol so that it will act as a button. So now we have inserted a symbol of rectangle as a button and text enter. Now we will assign a micro to this symbol. What you have to do, just right click, there is an option assign macro. Click here and assign the macro created by you. So our macro is data entry. So we have assigned it. Now let's see what will happen once we run this macro. All we need to do is to click. So once we click the macro button, every step is automatically repeated by Excel within a fraction of a second, and you can see the data has been entered. So what we wanted, exactly same thing has been done by the Excel. As soon as we click it, every steps in the background has been repeated in a same way in which we have recorded it. Let's try again. Suppose their next user come, he enters his data. Now again we want the same steps to be followed. First we'll copy, cut, paste, everything is same. So now instead of doing it manually, we will run the macros. Right now you can see there are 3 entries. Now let us run the macro, and in the background the automatic function has been repeated, and you can see the new entry has been made. So everything that we have done has been recorded, and now the same steps are being repeated by the Excel itself. So whenever we have such task where we have to repeat something, then instead of repeating it day in day out, all you can do is to record a macro for a one time. Later on, while creating the project management dashboard, this powerful tool will be one of the most useful function of the Excel, because it not only eliminates the manual entry, it allows the Excel to memorize our step and to repeat it on behalf of ourselves, so our time is saved. Now suppose you want more macros to be there, you can add any number of macros in Excel and keep it recorded and name it with a specific name. So in this way, whenever a data entry is done by the user and macro is run, then it will automatically get into a tabulated form. Now let us again do some data entry. Now when we enter the data and run this macro, all the data will be get into a tabulated form, because Excel has recorded each step, and same step in same sequence will be followed once we click on enter. Now you see the Excel has been performed the same steps, but now the data get unsorted. Suppose we want to take a print of it, so we want to sort it, so we will use a formatting this thing macros, and now you can see the data has been formatted and the information is now provided based on the year of experience, the topmost being on the first row. So in this way we have used the macros to record certain steps which now we do not need to perform any longer. For the rest of the time we just need to run the macros. It not only reduces the efforts, it also provide you to automate your Excel. It also enables you to skip lot of steps which you repeat on a daily basis. It's also help you to do a better data analysis. So now let's do one simple task on the macro, so we get a deeper knowledge about the macros. Let us understand how it record the steps and then it run these steps when required by the user. So after this session you can go through the Excel sheet and you can make your own macro and explore the automation of Excel, which is highly useful function in Excel. Thank you.